All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. This is Justin with zZounds. And as you guys heard, we are here with a bunch of Korg Volca synths. And yeah, these are great. That little jam was kind of spur of the moment here, just kind of live tweaking these guys. And these things can do so much. So we're going to kind of have some fun tweaking each of these individually, and maybe I'll do a jam at the end, but give you guys kind of an idea of what these things are capable of. And with the right amount of menu diving and experience with them, you can do a whole hell of a lot. So yeah, hopefully you guys liked that intro jam. There's a lot of really good stuff that I have patched in here. So let's just dive right in. We got a lot to cover. So let's see what we can get into. So starting off, the Volca sample over here is the second version of it, the sample 2. And this is a great sample sequencer and sample player. And I loaded a bunch of previous samples from my own collection to a lot of these banks here. So some of these were those, and some of them were stock sounds. But the unit is great because you can just load in your whatever samples you want. And the second iteration of this added this USB port, so you could just go straight into your computer without having to, run audio in and out through the sync port like you used to have to do. So big upgrade. And they also doubled the sample size, and they doubled the memory on it, I believe, as well. So yeah, you got a whole lot more power with this. We'll get to that in a second, though. But this was triggering all my drum sounds. So like this sound, for instance. So Hold on, let me see. So this sample was controlling all of these tones right here individually. So very cool unit. The next one was my bass module. This is the Volca nubass, and so this is a vacuum tube synthesizer, which is cool. So it's got this new tube right here, and that is controlled over in this left section. But you actually get a lot of good drive and sub-frequency capabilities with the new tube there. So we'll get to that later, but this is that like classic like TB303 kind of acid bass tone. So that's this sound right here. So very cool. And then this is the Volca Modular, which I had the least experience with going into it, but this thing's a beast. It's a modular synthesizer. It's kind of a West Coast style, if you guys know what that means. So this is going to be kind of, I'll have the most fun with this one, I think, later when we start just kind of randomly patching sounds. But the unit itself comes with all of these kind of mini micro patch cables there. And I got a bunch more on the left here next to me. So we're going to be having fun plugging that in. But it is a West Coast style modular synth. And whole bunch of awesome stuff here. And it also comes with a sequencer as well, like the rest of them. So I chained together a kind of random sequence that sounded like this. And you could have a lot of fun with this, opening it up, you know. So yeah. Even comes with a digital reverb on there, which is cool. So you can just kind of swamp it out with sounds too. So it's pretty cool. All right, so let's kind of just dive in with a little wow there tossed in for effect. Let's start with the sample, guys. This one's very, very cool. But we have so much to cover. So if you guys have a question for me, I have the live chat pulled up here. Please feel free to drop a comment there, and I will be sure to get to it, answer any questions you guys might have. Okay, so the Volca sample, like I said, it's a sample player. So you can load in either one-shot samples or full, even stereo samples in it, because it is fully stereo capable, which is great. So yeah, this is a great sample player, and it's very immediate. Like the first thing you'll notice is the beats that are already loaded on there are actually pretty cool. So let me just cycle through some of the random memory banks here so you guys can see what I mean. This is going to be the like the fifth bank there. So let's see. So yeah, cool sounds in there. There's even these like, you know, kind of panning synth sounds here, and you can kind of adjust the width on those so you like get full stereo spread on those, which is really awesome. So that is like a quick random part that I just pulled up here. Very, very awesome. But again, we're going to dive into this a little bit deeper. But I just realized I totally skipped the mixer right here. Let's go talk about the Volca mix, and then we'll get to the sample in a second. So Volca mix over here is just a performance mixer. So it helps chain all these Volcas together, and it is able to power 3 units from its single plug. So I'm chaining them there. It's got these nice little faders that actually have a decent amount of weight to them, which is nice. Mute buttons. I actually have separate sends right here, which is handy. And then a low and a high cut on each of the channels. So check it out. I'll play this, and you can hear how you can filter all those highs out, or kind of do like, you know, different kind of DJ sweeps there with it. So they sound actually pretty clean too for filters that are built in. They're great. I actually found them very handy. But yeah, it has a width section right here, width knob for increasing stereo spread, a dynamics knob here for compression, kind of like a overall master like a bus compressor, and then the speed there for that, and then tempo as well. You control and clock everything from the mix here, which is nice. So that's how I did it. I just synced the via the sync out cable, and just synced all 3 of these together. So the master clock is over here on the Volca mix, and you have tempo control right here. So check it out. You can adjust the sample from speed from here. So super handy, really loved it. This very, very much streamlined the setup. Before, I would have to chain everything together and then route the headphone output to a separate channel on my interface and monitor it that way. So having one stereo output and control from here is actually, you know, worth the cost of the unit, I think. So that is my setup here. So I got drums, bass, all sorts of weird oddities with the modular. So that's our chain right now. So now that that's covered, let's get back to the sample. We're going to do a little bit of some exploration of this. So sample player has these step programmable parameters menu right here, which is where all the fun happens on this guy. So let's pull up that one part that I hear. You can see that each of these 10 slots right here are for each part. So this is my kick, that's the snare there, and the kind of a hi-hat blended in, and you know, a little wood block with some kind of vinyl crackle in the back there. So when you go through, you can hear all those tones there. You can modify the sounds of them via this interface reader. So it's super handy. You have like a high cut, for instance. You can, you know, add or remove that, you know, get it how you want, but works really well for like hi-hats, for instance. If they're too kind of crispy and high pitched there, you can kind of soften them out. So make them sound lo-fi by pulling out the highs on them. So, you know. So really fun to mess around with that stuff. So love it. All right, cool. And then now the fun happens when you start adding samples and you adjust the start point and the length, which is cool because let's say you have a really long sample. It's maybe like a few seconds long. You can actually set the start point to chop off the front portion of it and adjust the length to clip the end of it so you can choose the range of the sample that you want. So you can get really weird, like glitchy kind of sounds with it. Like for instance, if you remove the kick start point, you can get these like weird, like just drum skin kind of sounding hits there, and then just the tail end of it. Or elongate the length, for instance, and make it kind of longer, or shorten it. So you just have those super punchy, super short kicks, right? So you have a lot of control, more than you think with certain types of samples. You can get weird stuttery effects and stuff, so it's awesome. And then the same for this, that you can adjust the pitch, which is awesome too, so check it out. So if you're adjusting a kick, you can get down to like really, really low stuff, and then this adjusts the intensity of that. So, and then you can even increase the kick up too if you want and get into actual pitched range, like almost like a keyboard. So, but yeah, you get those super fat kicks there. And then same deal, it has an envelope right here, so you can adjust the attack and decay on that, which is cool. So sounds very awesome. So let me go up a little bit and then we'll play it again. Cool. So you guys hear how you have tons of control over it then. Same deal with the hi-hat. Go to the hi-hat. Now we can just mess with that. So so much cool stuff. I can get totally lost in these things, as you guys can notice. But in the essence of time, let's move on. We have level control for each sample, and then you have a pan control. So if you want to throw that snare kind of hi-hat combo right there, let's maybe throw it over to the left then, so we can put it here. So now it's all the way over on the end, or on the other side. So yeah, really awesome. And then again, the amp section, you can again adjust the attack and decay. So you do have a ton of control. You can turn one sample and make it sound like a completely different type of instrument entirely. So this thing is fun and it's immediate. Really great. And then just to round off the controls that we have over here, there's just a master bass and treble control over here with these two knobs. So, you know. So again, you can do some sweeps with that if you want, you know. Really fun for programming those. But now that reminds me of a cool function that this has. Obviously the sequencer, as you've heard. But there's a way to use motion sequencing, which is great. So what you do is you activate motion sequence. I don't know if you guys can see this down here, but motion sequence on and off is associated with these two buttons. So if you want to access these alternate controls are you just hit function. So you're going to see me doing that a lot throughout this live stream, is just holding the function button and accessing these sub menus that are written in this small font over here. So hold function, hit motion sequence. Now it's on. When I'm playing a sample, I could just hit the record button and tweak these knobs like I was doing earlier, and it will automatically track and record that motion as it's doing it in real time, and then that's what's going to be assigned to the sample. So check it out. So if I do motion sequence on, I hit record here and play, then I could just start tweaking that sample and maybe do like a high cut or something, you know. So you hear that the filter turning there that just got assigned to the loop. So now the hi-hat's going to have a high cut that goes in step. So you can do some really cool stuff with that. So same deal with like maybe this part. I think it was this right here. So same deal. Let's maybe adjust the pitch of that this time. So hold on, let me get over there. All right, so pretty weird, right? So you can have that in your sample then. So I love it. I love how fun this is. And like I was saying, they're so immediate. The Volcas are like, you press a button, learn how these work, and you can just tweak this stuff in real time. So it's awesome. If you want to clear something you did and you didn't like it, just hit function, and there's a handy clear button right here that you can just basically erase all of those changes that you made. So moving on, there's other functions here, like active step and step record. I'll show you what I mean. If you hit active step, you'll notice all these buttons light up now. And what that does is it allows you to choose which of the 16 sequencer steps you actually are playing. So check it out. Maybe as this is going, you don't want maybe the tail end of this. You could just touch those and remove them. Now when the sequence is played, it just skips those forward over here. So you can do interesting things like that by, you know, maybe just picking and choosing which ones you want. So yeah, typical sequencer functions, but again, the immediacy is very handy. And if you want to clear that, if you don't like what you did, or maybe something went wrong and you're scrambling when you're doing it live, just again, hold the function button and then hit active step right there, and then it should clear those out for you. So it goes back to normal. So super easy. Really, the whole Volca concept revolves around that function button. That's going to be what you're accessing and using the most. So anyways, there is other functions there where you can just record in real time by just, play basically like, let's see, what can I get here? If I wanted to record that, I could. I might totally derail the whole sample there, but you just hit the record button right here, and then you're in live mode. So yeah, maybe so there you go. So that was just my live sample I just recorded right now. So let's clear that. I think I could just undo this here. All right, so you guys get the point there. So the other things on here that are worth noting are swing. You can get a really good swing on it if you want kind of like more glitchy stuff. So for instance, let's go to maybe that first sample I was playing. So if you use the swing, so yeah, you should be able to access that and get some fun swing stuff on it. Although I didn't hear it very well there. So. Oh, just realized I'm an active step one. So. All right, guys. Cool. All right, so there's also a master reverb right here. Check it out. So. So you could swamp everything out in reverb, and then also assign reverb to individual samples by just holding function and reverb right here. And then you can see these buttons here, choose the part. So you can be like, oh, I actually do want reverb on the kick drum right here. Let me press 1. Now the kick will have reverb. So it's really fun. again, once you learn the layout, you can do stuff really quickly. So anyways, I feel like that's the quick and dirty of the Volca sample, but since I spent too much time on that, let's move over to the Volca nubass, guys. So nubass. Nubass is that acid sound there, so let's go to that. And as every TB303 owner loves, crank the peak, which is just a resonance, and then you'll get those like juicy acid sounds there. So really great. So let's try this out though. I'll show you guys what it sounds without the new tube in there. So we'll pull the level of that out, and you guys will kind of hear the synth at a more neutral state there. So this is the more dry, like you know, square sawtooth kind of wave sound there. So, and cool part about this synth is that it has a drive function. So it's right over here. There's a drive. So if you crank that, you know, you can kind of make things a little grimier. So check it out. So I'll pull the drive out. And let's put the drive back in. So even on a single oscillator, you can notice the difference with the drive control. But like we're all looking for, we really want that new tube sub bass frequency, because why would you not want the sub bass in there? So let's go add that in. It's over here. This is the vacuum tube oscillator control right here. So let's add that in. You guys will hear what it sounds like. So by increasing drive there, you start hearing it, but it's very subtle. The reason being the saturation control is going to be, it's almost like how much of that bass frequency is getting let through. So check it out. I'll turn the saturation up. You'll really hear it thicken up. So now we're getting some kind of like juicy stuff there. So here's the filter as well. So I'll just cycle through it with the resonance downer. So. It is a ladder style filter, which is fun, but yeah. So getting some resonance in there. So yeah, classic acid sounds right there. So. All right, and then this is the pitch control over here. So that's just gonna be your master pitch. So you can mess around with that and get cool stuff. So check it. And then again, we got a tone control, which is nice if you're like really wanting to open up that resonance filter here, but you don't want all the brightness. You can kind of attenuate it with the tone knob here. So it's a very mild though, so it's just kind of adds some crunch to it or softens it just enough to be musical. So don't expect it to be a total filter though. So. All right, cool. Now let's talk about the sequencer, guys. We have some really, really entertaining stuff here. Same deal as with the sample, because, you know, these are all a collection. So we'll also still have motion sequencing before, where we can in real time adjust settings and it'll record those. So let's try it out. Let's access motion right here. Motion on. So that should be, hold on, let's see, function motion on. Actually don't know why I'm not getting it. There we go. There we go. I don't know why that didn't work before. All right, cool. So now if we hit record, we should be able to tweak stuff in real time. So there we go. So that makes a groove maybe a little bit more interesting, right? All right, cool. So now you can do kind of fun things like access randomized modes there, which is cool right here. So transpose, accents, slides. Without getting too deep into it, you can access quick randomization if you're kind of get tired of the same bass line that's going over and over again. Check it out. They'll say, oh, I hate this now. It's kind of just wearing on me. Hit function and go to transpose. And now it just picked a random collection of other notes, so you have a little bit of variation. And no matter where you're at on that, you can keep hitting it and keep getting random transpositions to make it interesting. So check it out. So that's pretty cool. I really like that. I thought that was a cool feature to have, but it still retains the motion sequencing we did before as well, so that's fun. And then now we have accents. So you hit accents, and I just randomized them. It'll literally accent the notes in random fashion. So check it out. And then you have control over that by this accent knob. That's how much it's accenting it, so you can really make notes pop out. So. And then lastly, slides. You can do slides in there, so check it out. So it's cool. Like again, because like nobody wants to hear the same bass line when you're just like running a groove. So when you do that, you can just kind of change up your pattern. So it's nice. Last thing, which is really fun, is the LFO target section. You can actually kind of assign the LFO here to different parameters and get some really cool interaction with the primary oscillator. So let's check that out. So first off, I'm going to start out with pitch so we can hear it like a classic LFO. So hit function, LFO target as pitch right here, and then we're going to be able to adjust that from this middle section. So check it out. So you'll see the LFO square right here, LFO intensity and LFO rate. That's going to be controlled once again by holding down the function key. As we've realized, the function key is going to be our master section for all these sub menus. So hold function, increase this, and that's the intensity of the LFO. Now we should be able to hear it. So let's now go to the rate and increase the rate. So you hear it interacting with the primary oscillator there. So you get some weird stuttery stuff when you increase the intensity, and even getting it to interact with the actual pitches up at the top, so it kind of gets that garbled, like really grimy sound. So yeah, I thought that was fun. But when you go to the cutoff, then you can get some cool effects as well. So let's go to LFO target, the cutoff now. So check this out. Really cool stuttery effects there. So. And if you increase the intensity down, I'm kind of cranking it so I can show you guys how intense you can get. You can make it more musical. Oh yeah, thanks. Very cool machine, good vibes for sure, for sure. These are great. So I'm like a kid again when I play these. I'm just like, oh, we could do this and we could try this. So they're very, very fun. So anyways, let's keep going though with that LFO cutoff target. So. So yeah, really fun stuff, yeah. See, really weird, like popping in and out of notes based on where it's set, so really cool. Yeah, and you can access combinations of that as well. You don't have to just assign the LFO to that. You can do it for both or all three even. But there's one more, guys. There's assigning the LFO to the amp, which unfortunately we don't have control of the overall amp. We just have control of the filter section, but that's okay. So check it out. So now you really start getting those exaggerated in and out peaks there. So it's very fun. So. Thanks, Foo. Yeah, got to run good demo though, making me want to get more of these for sure. They're great. You're gonna miss the modular, but I'll show you it later. So, all right. So very, very fun. And again, this is with the intensity crank, so it's kind of unmusical. But check it out. So pull the intensity down, then you can get some cool patterns with it that are usable. So yeah, so you guys got the kind of a fairly deep dive into this guy. The only thing I didn't cover was that you can change the wave shapes over here. So you can change it between a square or a sawtooth or even a triangle right here for the LFO, which is cool. So yeah, you got some options. If you dig into these, yeah, you get a lot of good stuff. So let's move on though, guys. Let's go to the Volca Modular. This one is a beast of a synth, and I just had a random patching, so let's just pull them. Let's hear what this guy can do without any patching, because you still can play it without. So let's activate a random function. I'm going to go to the scale down here and pick one of these scales that it has. Let's just go to, why not, let's just do a major pentatonic. Why not? Let's do that. So if we choose that, it's going to cycle into pentatonic. So all right, and I got to pull out all the grime I threw in there from earlier. So here, now that's a fairly neutral, clean sound. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah. So the functionality of this is actually quite simple once I got the hang of it. They label everything perfectly. So if you notice on these layouts right here, there's going to be a clear section. That's for your inputs, which is handy. All the ones that are blue are outputs. So once I realized that, I was like, oh, like crap, this is so easy then. I just have to feed all these outputs, these inputs, and then you can really start having fun with patching in very creative ways. But once you understand that, then you can kind of jump in, even if you're not really familiar to modular. And I am one of those people. I have very, very intermediate experience with modular. So this was very fun for me as like a, easy jumping in point. So let's get to it, guys. Let's play it, and I'll show you some of this stuff without patching and then with patching, and then we'll wrap up with another jam. But check it out. So a very like pure sound wave right now. Let's go over to the left. So if we go over to the left here, you can see the source section. So this is going to be how we're going to get either the ability to fold these sounds back on top of themselves or modulate the actual modulator, which is right here. So let's hear what I'm talking about. It's basically like, in my opinion, it's like just adding dirt and intensity. So check out it. Here's the modulation. And then it's off. Here's the fold back. So yeah, if you do combinations of that, you get some cool stuff. So you kind of see what that's doing. The ratio knob over here is the ratio between the, I believe it's the modulator carrier right there. So let's check it out. So you'll notice you can kind of find the ability to tune it then and get pitched sounds that are more like sonorous there if you want them. So check it out. So you can hear kind of a harmony right there, right? All right, so now we're starting to get into some fun territory. So you have a classic attack and release filter. Well, I shouldn't say filter, but yeah, attack and release ability right there. It's typical synth stuff. So. right? So ability to adjust all those. So cool. And then now we get to the cutoff section. You'll notice the filter section. So it's, you see dual LPG, that's a low pass gate. It's not really a low pass filter in the same way, because again, West Coast style synthesis. So what it's doing is, I believe it's taking like a voltage controlled filter and kind of using that as almost like a voltage controlled amplifier as well. So when you remove the cutoff value totally off, it actually will filter the entire the sound out completely, just like you would on the VCA, pulling the VCA out. So check it out. So wide open, and then see as you pull the cutoff down, it'll reduce it down to 0. So something to keep in mind. So. All right, cool. And then again, like I said before, we got a reverb. So that's fun, a little digital reverb right here. And so check it out. That's fully wet. And then all right. Now, because I'm getting sick of that loop that's happening, I'm sure you are too. Let's go to the sequencer and randomize it. You'll notice down here, there's other functions for modes, and one of them is a stochastic type of randomization, right? So check it out. I'll engage that, and then say it's much more fun, right? And then ability to jump octaves and stuff too. You can have an octave section down here, so you can bump one down an octave, for instance. And then you can go up as well. So it's super fun. Yeah, you got a lot of control over that. And then there's a bounce function, which sequences forward and then it goes reverse. So that's what the bounce function will do. Check it out, you'll see it. And then it goes back. So based on what speed you're at, you can do cool stuff with that. So I'm gonna increase the tempo and so yeah, pretty fun, right? So the thing does a lot even when you're not patching. So it's very, very fun. So let's get to some patching now, guys. So they give you a bunch of these included cables here. And so let's just do something easy. So right out of the gate, I was like, oh, this has kind of a sample and hold functionality, which is fun. And the sample and hold is going to be accessed right here under the woggle setting. So this is a stepped sample and hold, and then one is a smooth, where it kind of glides between the notes. And apologies for everybody out there if I'm speaking like complete rocket science right now, but this is your stepped or your smooth one. So let's go to the stepped. It sounds a little bit more musical, and I'm going to assign this over to the cutoff over here. So we'll start with that, but we need a source for it. So let's go over here to the source. I'm going to take this over here and let's just put it to the cutoff over here, the other cutoff, because you notice these functions, it literally is math right there, A plus B times C. So if you do that, you're going to notice this ABC section will interact in weird ways. So let's hear what this sounds like. So you notice right when I signed it to the right when I signed it to that cutoff, that's when all the madness happens. So pretty fun. So that's kind of a pure sound there. Let's just kind of crank it and see what we get. So pretty cool, right? So very, very bizarre and weird too. But you can start doing some cool tricks to get an LFO on there. So let's talk about that. So you got this time function right here, and you notice you have output and input and a little square wave over here. So what we can do is we can actually feed it into itself and take the square wave and feed it back into the square wave up here. So same deal. And now we've kind of created our own like type of LFO. So then you can assign that from the output and send that somewhere else. So let's take that and put it, give it a source. So let's go here. Let's just get weird with it, and we'll feed it into this fold function over here. And this should work. As far as I know, I think it should now access some sort of functionality like that. So let's hear it. Let's see if I did this properly. It's possible I just destroyed the whole thing. So. All right. Oh, you know what? I think I need to actually feed it into the gate. Hold on. Let's do that. So taking the source out of here, and then finally connecting it to this low pass gate over. I believe this should work then. So, but if not, then we're gonna get weird with it again. So, oh, I was muted. Duh. Classic modular problem. Oh my God, am I patching something? No, I just had the mixer muted. So here. So very weird sounds. So you can get really bizarre stuff on this, guys. Love it. I love it. The beauty of modular, right? Let's do something else. Let's just take this release out right here and see if we can just feed that in here. How about into the reverb? Sure, why not? Feed the release function into the reverb. We'll see how that sounds. That's fun. So yeah, so many weird things you could do, guys. And then you hear that decay right there. Yeah, cool. So let me just pull some of these. There we go. That's that LFO I was talking about before there. All right, so we can get weird with it and keep going on this, but there's a few other things I wanted to talk about with just the sequencer right here. So hold on one second, guys. All right, cool. So let me kill that source right there. Cool. So with the sequencer down here, we have a couple extra options. Again, you can randomize, you can do micro tuning, which is kind of fun. But you also have the ability to choose the different scales, like I mentioned earlier. So let's just hear a couple of those. Same deal as before. And they'll sound weird because they're modulated so heavily, but check it out. If you go to scale down here, you can pick a different one. So maybe, how about that? Let's do a Japanese scale here. And then you'll hear it. I think you should, there you go. You should hear it if I kill the source modulation, but so very, very cool stuff. So. All right, cool. I kind of like where that's going. That maybe I'll use that for this last little jam here. But since I'm 45 minutes deep in, because these things are that fun, let's wrap up with some final thoughts here, and then maybe a quick, like, quick minute or two long jam. But these are incredibly powerful, and the more you dig in, I feel like the more rewarding they get. There might be limitations for some of them, but I think because of the price for them, it's great to just keep adding more synths to your collection as the need arises for them. So cheap, Really powerful, great sounds. I love all these. I've owned 3 or 4 of them before we even got these sent in for this stream. So as a longtime Volca fan, I really love messing around with these. But like always, guys, feel free to throw me a comment in the chat and I will get to it if you guys have any questions for me. But if not, I think I'm just gonna pick a random sample on the Volca sample, random groove, and then we'll see what kind of stuff we can come up with. So yeah, let's just get weird with it. So about part 7, let's see what that sounds like. All right, guys, thanks so much. Yeah, these are great. So thanks for tuning in. This was a nice long one, but we got 4 synths covered right here. Well, I guess 3 synths and a mixer. But thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, tune in next time for our next stream in a couple weeks here. But please, before you go here, check out our website for the products featured here. So we got the Korg Volca Sample 2. We got the Korg Volca nubass, the Korg Volca Modular, and then the Korg Volca Mix. All amazing in their own right. These are great. Get as many as you can. I love these. I literally have so many at this point, but they're fun and easy. Much easier than I sometimes can make it seem when we do 4 at one time. But I promise if you spend like an hour with these, you usually get the ropes for all of these products. So hope you guys liked it out there. And yeah, feel free to tune in next time. And thanks for watching, guys.